Okay, that's weird. My little okay. Oh, there it is. No, the okay didn't turn up. Anywho, welcome to the meeting. I'm Louise. I will be the facilitator today. Um, I'm gonna read the land acknowledgement. We begin today by acknowledging that what we know as the United States is the ancestral and unceded territory of many indigenous peoples, and that there are many more nations and tribes that could be named. Many, many more. Members of our meeting group today are on the lands of the Chitimacha and Choctaw in New Orleans, the Creeks and Cherokees in Atlanta, the Tonkawan, Lipan Apache, and Comanche in Austin, the Lenape and Piscataway in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, the Wampanoag and Nipmuc peoples in Boston, and the Kaluuya and Mojave in Riverside, and the Lumbee in Fayetteville. We thank their ancestors for being stewards of these lands through the generations and through today. We need to protect and honor the history and people of these places. Despite centuries of colonial theft and violence, we should always remember that we are still on indigenous land and it will always be indigenous land. Okay, we're all veterans here, but I will explain the format. If you want to get on, you wave one finger and I'll put you on a list. You get to speak for 2 minutes. You can be put back on the list if you have more to say. Um, Obviously, put yourselves on mute and stay muted until you are speaking. If the person that was talking has a question that you didn't understand, you need clarification, raise two fingers and you can ask them the question. Now that's not a jump off for you to give your opinion or your contra opinion to what they were saying. It's actually for you to just clarify, like, what did you mean by such and such a word, or uh, I didn't understand what you meant by blah blah blah. So yeah, that's the way we do it. And at the end, we'll have a roundup, and you'll all have 1 minute if you have spoken. If you haven't spoken the whole meeting, you will be given 2 minutes. Um, let's do introductions first, and then I'll introduce why I brought this article. So, Phyllis, very briefly, who you are and how long you've been with Erace.
Good morning, I'm Phyllis. I'm in New Orleans and I've been with Erace since the summer of 2008.
Thank you. Beatrice.
Good morning. I'm Beatrice here in Eastport outside of Atlanta. Been with Erace really since 1993. Founded the Atlanta chapter in 2006 with my husband, Larry. Glad to see y'all. Miss y'all.
We always miss you. Nancy.
Good morning. I'm Nancy. I'm in the New Orleans area, and I have been coming to Erace since June of 2007.
Thank you, Nancy. Marla.
Good morning. I'm Marla. I'm in the greater New Orleans area as well. And I've been coming to Erace since, as Monique Melton says, the pseudo wide awakening of 2020. I'm happy to be here.
Glenn. Okay, let's do Marion. Good morning, Marion. You mute your. There you go.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't think you were ready to introduce yourself, but Salaam Alaikum, Glenn. Go ahead.
Walaikum assalam. Yes, been coming to Erace since '94, and glad to be here this morning.
Good. Marion.
Am I unmuted because I can't see myself anymore?
Yep, you're fine. We got
Okay,
you.
and I cannot get FABC Spanish off this screen to
Doesn't
save
matter.
my soul.
That's
All
your
right.
name now.
Okay, I'm Marion here in the New Orleans area. I've been attending the race discussion since 1993. It's nice to see some of you.
Oh,
I don't mean I don't want to see any of you. I mean,
Oh, I see what you.
my thing is messed up. I
Okay,
swear, I think there's a ghost in this computer.
we got you.
Well, I'm glad you explained yourself. I was about to get offended.
Amal, introduce yourself, please.
Lord help us.
Yeah, I'm Amal in the New Orleans area. I've been coming to Eracism meetings since the summer of 1997.
Thank you, Amal. And Teresa.
Hi, this is Teresa. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I've been coming since August 2022.
Great, thank you. Marla, did you introduce, or the things all shifted around? Did you introduce yourself?
I did.
Okay, great. I think that's everybody. And I'm Louise. I've been coming, I keep saying 2 decades, but I think I've been coming for over 3 decades now almost. Yeah. First in New Orleans and then now in Austin, Texas. Okay, so obviously, Palestine, the genocide that's going on there weighs heavy on my heart and is a big issue with me. And I'm gobsmacked as to why it's not a big issue with people in power. And it just rips me apart. And it's connected to the black and brown struggle as far as support, and I thought this article was quite good in showing that uh, there needs to be more, because there is there we need more support. And I've been going to quite a few rallies recently, and I do know that black and brown people have been encouraged not to go because of being arrested and brutalized, maybe, or whatever. And that breaks my heart as well. So I mean, the state of the world is a very frightening place right now. And anyway, I want your thoughts on this article, and if go in whatever direction you want to talk about these things. So I'm going to start making a list, and we are open for comments. So wave your fingers in the air like you just don't care. Actually, like you care. I'd rather have you care. Anybody? Am I missing something? Oh, Leonetta. I didn't see you there. Leonetta, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good morning, everybody. I was late. I was reading an article. That's why I'm late.
That's okay.
I Good morning. I'm from New Orleans, and I've been a member of Erace. I did an intern while I was working on my degree, so I've been a member since then. Is that all I need to say?
Yep, that was
Okay.
for now, unless you want to jump in and start the conversation.
Yeah, I just got to reading an article, and I did not know that what had happened to Dr. West. I knew he worked at the university, but I didn't know that he had lost, wasn't working because of the work that he was doing.
Right.
I was shocked to read that. And I don't know how other people on the call feel, but to be pro-Palestinian and be anti-Semitic are not the same thing. I don't know who made that a thing. I don't know, because I am pro-Palestinian, but I am not anti-Semitic. I am far from being anti-Semitic. But exactly. I am pro-Palestinian.
Right. And manipulated that.
They need their own land, their own country, and what is happening to them is wrong. But also, Israel has a right to their land, and what they are doing is wrong too. And I'll tell it to any Jewish person, and some of them believe the same thing, that what's going on in Israel is wrong. So I just don't I don't know. Anyway, I'm rattling. I'm rattling.
That's all right. Whoa, sorry. There you go. Phyllis, you were on the list.
Well, I can tell
Much
you
better.
who conflated anti-Semitism and being pro-Palestinian, and that's Israel and Zionism and Zionists in general. They want to frighten people with the accusation of anti-Semitism to make them be quiet, when in many ways the concept of anti-Israel speech and anti-Semitism is actually making a more dangerous situation for Jewish people in some situations. And as you said, Lena, the Jewish people are speaking out against what Israel is doing as well, but they get accused of being self-hating Jews and capos, and they have their own special accusations they get from Zionist people. So that's all I'll say for now.
Thank you. Beatrice, you're up.
I think that it is just horrible if you look at the history of the Palestinian people from 1948, when the state of Israel was created. These people have been displaced. The land on which they lived, it was given away, in a sense. That it is, and now the numbers of people that are Palestinians that are being killed with this foolishness of Netanyahu, with his warmongering self, it's just painful to observe. And the idea that we as a country are so concerned about anti-Semitic actions and speech. I mean, Harvard is being required, they're not going to do it, to give the names of students that are on the immigrant, that are on their list as students. And the claim by Christy Normal, whoever the person is that's in charge, is that there's too much anti-Semitism. When did we all get to be so concerned about a group of people that everything that is said against the policies of their country, the leader of their country, becomes hating the people? You can't, you don't conflate those two. And you need to be able to separate stuff. What kind of brain do you have that you cannot see that what is happening? Hundreds of people being killed, land being destroyed, that cannot, it's going to take forever to get together. And the continuation of what was an over, what has been too much in the first place, the overwhelming power of the military of Israel. I mean, it's just, it is, I just cannot believe that this is happening and that there's not a great outcry. And if you speak against, if you're pro-Palestinian, or if you're against what is happening to the Palestinian people, you're anti-Semitic. Come on, let's make a separation here. Think about things. Be able to clarify what is not. And it's just heartbreaking. I'm Louise, I like your word. It's just heartbreaking to see what's happening to the people.
Thank you, Beatrice. Marla, you're on.
Yeah, just to kind of follow that, I think it's just the observation that we all continue to make is how so-called liberals fail to recognize that the liberation for all people is directly connected to Palestine, Palestinians being free as well. And there's a lack of understanding, or I don't know if it's a lack of understanding or just flat out failure to see or fear of repercussions by speaking out and saying something in the name of humanity per se. But that to me is an ongoing frustration. However, not a surprising reality, because in America we show time and again. I mean, look at FSU. We don't value American lives. Why would we value Palestinian lives? So that's it for now.
Thank you. While I wait for someone to join the conversation, I'm just going to say you're exactly right, Marla, about I got you, Marianne, hold on. They're frightened, I guess I'll speak at the end. Sorry. Marianne.
Okay, what I find particularly appalling is that if you dare to say anything, you're considered anti-Semitic. I, I expressed to someone that the Palestinian people were human beings, and someone agreed with me. I said, "Well, what am I missing here then?" I said, "Where, in the name of common sense, a certain person that we all are familiar with suggested that the Palestinian people, be moved to another location." I said, "How in the name of common sense you're going to move that many people to another location, a million plus people?" And it makes me feel like I'm in La La Land or the Twilight Zone. You just gonna uproot people and march them out of the region where they lived for I don't know how long. Someone called me a jackal online because I made a comment about a certain person we know is a flesh and blood human being, and this human being doesn't walk on water. And the person said, "You are a jackal." So I'm a jackal for saying that a mortal person is is just a mortal person. So it's crazy. Yeah, we all died and gone to hell and we don't know it. It's just ridiculous. It's absurd. Those people are human beings. You can't just shuffle human beings around like that. What it's maddening. That's what it is.
Oh,
I'm done.
thank you, Marion. So again, I think
All right, you
Israel.
put me on the list.
Oh, okay. I keep trying to fill in the pause. Glenn, go ahead, honey.
All right. Yes, it's not just attack on the Palestinian student or attack on the college. It is an attack on our constitutional rights,
Mm.
right of assembly, freedom of speech. Uh, it's it's worse uh, than anybody getting beat on that. But to deprive us of this, America don't really have no true freedom. You know, the 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 strongest has the freedom to suppress the weakest. We don't have true human life here. Uh, well, I got to gather my thoughts again. I'll get back on this.
What was the last word you said? True human what?
Uh, true human life.
Life. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put you back on at some point. Anyone else? No. Yes, Beatrice, go ahead.
There was a lot of interest in the article. I wrote down this quote: white dominant systems will accept minorities on the condition that they don't challenge the system.
Right.
That is just absolutely what's happening to Cornel West. I mean, he was the great scholar, he was the great this and all, to be lauded and honored. And now, because he has taken up another cause, he is persona non grata. He's nobody. Is as if the article said his accomplishments have evaporated, and that tells you something about this society and the accept white supremacy and the acceptance of Black and brown people in positions of authority. You're okay. You're good if you're good lapdog, and you're okay, and you say what I want you to say, even though research or whatever will say something else. You're okay. But once you step out of that, there's an accepted place for you. And once you move from there, you are likely to be considered not important anymore. Maybe there's tenure involved. Fortunately, one of the people involved was already tenured, but still the guy with CNN. I mean, it just all kind of repercussions, because just because you step out of what is an assigned and expected assigned and acceptable position for you. And that's so true, and that's so unfortunate. That deprives us of the scholarship and the brilliance of people on whose positions we may or may not agree.
Absolutely. Thank you, Beatrice. Glenn.
Yes, what I forgot to say the last time was that Jewish people have a lot of power in the media. They're some of the biggest donors to the universities, and they are showing their power, that they're able to make university cow down to them. They are able to make the president of the United States go against the will of the American people. The Congress goes against the will of the American people because they're afraid of losing their jobs. They are threatened with the Israeli lobby, a foreign lobby group, Apex, that pays both the Democrats and the Republicans to bow down and to do their will. So really, we're in a very dangerous area in history, whereby they paid millions of dollars to put Donald Trump in office. One, I don't know, but one lady give $100 million. One Jewish lady give $100 million, and he is paying her back for that $100 million to oppress for him to oppress the American people. That's it.
Thank you. True words. The list is open. Does anyone want to jump in?
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Oh, Amal, bless your heart. All right, go ahead.
I thought I had raised my hand, but maybe you didn't see it. It's okay.
No, it didn't come up on the screen, sweetie.
Okay, that's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think one of the issues and one of the problems rather is with people speaking out, saying that they're for the Palestinian people's plight, and not, nobody wants to be labeled or called names. So a lot of people, out of fear, rather than step up and say, what's happening to the Palestinian people is wrong, they cower under being called anti-Semitic, because nobody want to be labeled. Nobody want to be called names, especially when your heart is sincere. So I think that's one of the issues, is that people, out of fear, don't step up or speak up for the Palestinian people, even if in their heart they feel like what's happening is wrong. Nobody wants to be labeled, and particularly in the public sphere where people can see it, where you're on television or and your reputation and your job at this point is at stake. People are losing jobs because they just say, what's happening to Palestine, the Palestinian people is wrong. So when people are losing their jobs and their livelihood out of fear, no one's stepping up and saying anything, because nobody want to be labeled anti-Semitic. Interestingly, what I find interesting is that, are not the Palestinian people Semitic as well? Which I don't hear nobody talking about. The Arab people are Semitic people. So how the term Semitic gets, how the Jews got a monopoly on being Semitic, I find quite amazing, because the Arab people are Semitic people as well. That's quite interesting to me. But anyway, as it relates to Dr. Mark Lamont Hill and Professor Cornel West and so on and so forth, historically, Black men, Black people, Black women were okay as long as they stuck to Black issues and didn't step outside that boundary. The minute they step outside, and particularly if they're talking about something on a national scale, they became a problem. We saw this with Dr. Martin Luther King when he spoke out against the Vietnam War, Malcolm X when he spoke out against the Palestinian plight, and then this is in the 1960s. So this is nothing new. I'll go ahead. I'll digress.
Do you want to get back on? Or?
No. I'll listen to other people speak.
Okay. Hey, you don't digress. That's exactly the way I wanted to go, and that was an excellent point. So, yeah. Thank you. No Glenn, you're up.
Yes, it's that's something you can't call Cornel West anti-Semitic because he is Semitic. Semitic is a mixed group, and African is in that mixed group. The Holocaust, what happened to the Jews? They've been playing on that for decades. That's been their greatest weapon, the Holocaust, and the sympathy whatever evil they've done in the world, people always have sympathy for them because of the Holocaust. They have washed all that away. That no longer has an effect on the American people. You can't bring up what Hitler done to you when people are seeing in real time what you are doing that's more monstrous than what Hitler done to you. Mm-hmm. So, they are losing. They're losing big time. In the end, they're going to lose it all. They're going to lose Israel. That's my prediction. And I don't even have to be a prophet to predict that. Talk to you. That's it.
Thank you. Well, I hope you prophesize the truth. Phyllis, go ahead.
Yeah, inshallah, Glenn, to what you said.
Yeah, inshallah.
So I want to talk about after I came back from my Gaza trip, when I was in seminary, I took a class presented. It was taught by a professor from the Hillel Organization Center at UC Berkeley. And it was open to students, seminary students, and like community members. So there were a lot of Jewish people in the class who were like taking the class. And I co-wrote a paper for that class with a classmate who was Japanese American. And we compared and contrasted South African apartheid, the oppression that happened to Japanese Americans in this country, and what Israel was doing in Palestine. And there were times in conversation with this professor where I literally thought he was going to like stroke out. He was so stressed by us and our ideas. And I still have the paper. I read it sometime in the last several months. Again, noticed all his comments. One thing we wrote was that perhaps it's possible that someday Israel will enact a genocide against the Palestinians. Mm-hmm. And he wrote, that won't happen. He was completely in denial about that. He's still alive. I've Googled him. I attempted to call him and say, hey, remember me? And what do you think of this now? He also didn't, he criticized some of the terms we used, like we used USian, which is used commonly now. I've seen it in other articles. And there was another phrase, I can't think what it was. Othering. He did not like othering. And somebody told me in Berkeley, there's a center for the study of othering. So he must be aware of that. I'll probably get back on the list later.
I have a clarifying question. What are those two terms you just said?
USian refers to people from the United States instead of an American, a USian.
Oh, okay. And then
And
othering?
then othering is when you treat somebody like they're so completely not,
Right.
it's like dehumanizing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
And,
yes.
and it's part of the
Others.
process to dehumanize people to other people.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else for the list? Teresa, you're being very quiet, please. Anyone?
Yeah,
No.
I'll go.
Oh, Amal,
I'll,
great. Thanks.
yeah, yeah. Finishing up on the point that I left off on is as it relates to Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King.
Uh-huh.
They stepped outside the United States and stepped outside of the Black community and began to speak on international things. They became targets. A lot of people don't know that there was a time when Martin Luther King was considered a communist and anti-Semitic. But we don't speak about Dr. Martin Luther King in those terms today. But in the 1960s, he would label those things. And anybody who was raised during those times know that to be called a communist in the 1960s just wasn't a good thing. It just, you did not want to be labeled a communist. And so, and Angela Davis and the list, Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, the list goes on and on. These people were all spoke out against the genocide of Palestinian people, and they were all labeled and they were all defamed, however you want to word it, in the eyesight of the media. And once again, no one wants to be labeled. But then there are those people like those people that I just mentioned, like the Malcolm X's and the Angela Davises. They just don't care because they wrong is wrong. And when you have to speak out against wrong, you deal with the backlash that comes with that. You don't have time um, to soften your stance on something when it's wrong. And so that right there, I think is the problem that's happening with Dr. Cornel West and Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. They stepped outside of just speaking on Black issues, and when they internationalized themselves, they not, especially with an international issue like what's going on in Palestine, they've made themselves a target, and unfortunately, one of them lost their professorship, and that's the problem when people are starting to lose their jobs for taking a stance on something that's not popular. That's a problem in the United States because that's not what this country is supposed to be about. But of course, the United States never did nothing that it says on paper. So
Thank you so much, Amal. That that is an excellent point. And now we're going to hear from Phyllis.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the idea that, Trump talks about moving. Oh, sorry, maybe I'm not supposed to say his name. The current occupant talks about moving people around, out of Palestine to other Arab countries or whatever, or somewhere in Africa. That's not new. We had the Trail of Tears. The Nazis did it to Jewish people. First put them in ghettos and then moved them off to camps. That's human history has a lot of those examples. The way we moved the Japanese Americans to their internment camps here. People have been doing that for a long time, the people with power. But I do feel like this response to the October 7th attack has revealed so much that would have stayed hidden if it weren't for that attack and the response to it. And I don't know if the people who created that attack on the 7th knew that would happen. Like the people would see finally all the horror that's been going on since 48 and before. But if they did, they're kind of genius. Unfortunately, a lot of people have had to die, but that's on the people with the guns and the tanks, in my opinion. I I am very concerned about the ways many universities in this country are reacting to, was my time up?
No.
Oh.
I was saying Glenn's on the list.
That that they are complying with the things that the current administration has demanded of them. I'm glad to see that some are not, and some are speaking up. Like Tufts, I believe, is speaking up for their student who was abducted off the street. And I think these abductions, you've seen the one of the woman who was the Turkish research student or grad student, that nobody comes up to you and shows you a badge anymore. They have masks on, they don't have uniforms, they don't have badges, they don't show you a warrant, they don't say anything about why they're taking you, where they're taking you, they just whisk you away in a van. That's terrifying, but also not new. That happened with the protests that were, I know in Portland many years ago, Black Lives Matter protests, people were whisked away in vans there too. So that's all for now.
Thank you. Good timing. Glenn, you're up.
Yeah. The thing about today, the whole world can see what is going on. The American people get fed by the Jewish run news media, CBS, CNN, get fed lies of what's really going on. But the rest of the world, they actually get the real news. And in the United Nations, all the nations are against what Israel is doing. Only ones that are supporting it is Europe and in the United States. Uh, and if the United States, well, they got a fellow in that Oval Office, Trump. He is unreliable as a partner. If he's with you one day, he may be against you the next day. So if he turns against Israel, that's the end of Israel. If he stopped giving support, that's the end of Israel. Because with him, with him goes. I don't care how much money they paying that Congress. With him, they know that Trump got the voters in those Republican areas. They're not going to vote against him. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that. Oh yeah. Let me tell you some other things going on. About 1 million people, Israelis have left there, and these are people who are the brain power. Those people who can lead and take their brain power and find and can make a livelihood anywhere in the world. 1 million of them have left. Okay, that's it.
Do you want to finish that thought?
No, I'll come back when I'll complete it another time.
Okay. Anyone else want to get on the list? Okay, we've got Marion and then Phyllis. Marion, go ahead.
Okay. I'm glad Phyllis brought up some of the things she brought about. That she brought up. I was thinking about these people who are explorers. We heard about Lewis and Clark, and I thought about as a little girl. I heard this rhyme, and those of us of a certain age have heard it about Christopher Columbus. Christopher sailed the ocean blue in 1492. And what I didn't learn until I was an adult, I think I was in college, undergraduate, that after he left the what we live on now today is the North American continent. When he came, there were 5,000 indigenous people living in a certain area that he passed through. The people, supposedly the historians say, had lived here a very long time. Their ancestors had come here, crossed that land bridge, and they were living here. 5,000 people. When Christopher Columbus left, there were only 500 people living. And it was because Columbus and his people brought filth and disease. And of course, there were no antibiotics in those days. The people had not been exposed to these people, these explorers before, so they got sick and they died. Again, I'll use that word I've overused, appalling. So here you had a population of 5,000 people that dwindled down to 500 after this man left this area and went back to give his report to Queen Isabella. Now you want to move these 1 million plus Palestinian people. The area has just about been obliterated. So you want to shuffle them around and really mess up things. I'm telling you, we human beings can be some jackasses. So on that note, I'll shut up.
Thank you, Marion. I would use a stronger word than jackass, but anyway. Phyllis.
On the list again?
You raised your finger, didn't you?
I'm happy to talk.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty sure you and Marion did it at the same time.
Oh, that's right, we did. What was I gonna say? But I wanted to say, yeah, that what really irritates me, what irritates me is that Christopher Columbus was a evil person and we have a holiday to celebrate him. But he never set foot on the continent of North America. And I don't understand why he gets a holiday when he didn't even know where he was when he landed where he landed, and he didn't land here. And he tortured people, his men raped women, they probably raped everybody they could. And
Dutch Glenn.
He just has never he's never been a hero since I learned more than what they taught us in elementary school. And I do think that the Palestinian cause for freedom is going to be triumphant. And I hope I live to see it.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Phyllis. Marion, I got you, but first we've got Glenn.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that Israel is suffering. They try to hide, well, the media hides the bad situation, just how bad a situation Israel is. Since the Houthis have stopped shipping from coming to their port, that port has been devastated. No, that port is closed. That'd be like the port of New York closing. How devastating would that be to the economy of New York? And with all those people leaving, that is devastating to the economy of Israel. They got about 80,000 people who cannot go back to their homes because of that they're still at war with Lebanon. And the United States don't have enough money to prop up the economy. But they're pretending like all is going well, that they're being triumphant. They are not. They are hurting. And they want the United States to go to war with Iran. That will destroy the economy of the entire world, going to war with Iran. And now I don't know if we're stupid enough to do it. Trump, I don't think wants to go to war. He make a lot of blustering talk, but I don't believe that he really wants to go to war, because once you attack Iran, Iran is going to attack all the Persian Gulf petroleum fields in Saudi Arabia, the Arab Emirates. Nobody will be getting any petroleum out of the Middle East. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. So the list is. Oh no, sorry, Marion. I'm so sorry.
I should have. Oops, wait, I got on
Do you
mute.
have a clarifying question too? You just turned yourself back off, Marion.
Okay, but I should have said a clarifying question. I'm
Okay.
taking these drugs for this back pain, and I'm telling you, I'm loopy. Okay. I wanted to, I don't know if it's appropriate and not within the realms of our rules. What did I wanted to ask others, what did I say? Christopher Columbus came here and gave the diseases to the people on the North American continent?
You said that, I think.
That's what I said. Yes. Okay.
I think you did.
Oh, okay.
But lots of people think that it's not, I mean, that he came here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you meant to say that he only landed as far as the island that we know as Hispaniola today,
Hispaniola, yeah.
which is
Yeah.
Haiti and the Dominican Republic. He never made it to North America.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Point of order then. Let's get back to it. Or
I apologize, Louise. But like I said, my brain scrambled.
Marion, it's okay. But did you have one finger up? Did you want to get on the list?
I know. I meant to hold up two fingers to
Oh,
add
okay, good.
what
To
I
clarify
said.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm telling y'all I'm loopy.
Okay. So the list is open, but I want to also add, and to have more of it. I was looking through so many different articles for today, and some of them, there's just so many. And one was full of statistics about how Black and brown people support the Palestinian plight. And I just thought that was interesting because there was a huge percentage that wasn't supporting. And so I posed to you, is that because that they're frightened about being, disappeared? Or, why would that not be part of your agenda for, you know, togetherness and solidarity? Anyway, I'll pose that question, and then if anyone else wants to get back on the list.
Let me get back on the list.
Okay, go ahead, Glenn.
I don't think a large majority are against the Palestinians, because we feel for people that be under that kind of
It wasn't so much
suffering.
against, by the way. It just was not strongly for.
Yes, yeah, yeah, but yeah, I think the majority of us, we have very strong feelings about it, and because you know, we can put ourselves in that position, of what they're going through. We can empathize with them. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, sir. Okay, so I'm thinking we might be making this a shorter meeting. I don't want to, pull teeth from you all So what I'm going to do is,
Leonetta has her hand up.
how do you see that? Where are we?
She's a, well,
Oh, yes, there she is, Leonetta. Go ahead, Leonetta.
I just want to say that the people who I talk to about this subject, most of them on the list of priorities is not very high. It's just that they have other things that they feel more strongly about than that. And they see that as something far away that is not affecting their everyday life. It's not that they're not concerned about it, but it's not something that they worry about every day. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you there. We're not particularly known for being globalists in any way. Okay, so we have Beatrice.
I did just want to quickly say that this is about the Jewish people and the Holocaust, kind of responding to Glenn. I think that those still have the right to have that as a part of their either origin story or their discussion of original painful history, that people have a right to do that. I mean, we can respond in whatever way we do or do not, but wrong throughout the history is something that people have a right to claim if it happened to them. And I think that we as human beings have a right to recognize that, just as the original sin of this country, as the enslavement of people. We have a right to continue to claim that as a part of our history, our origin story, the blood memory that we still hold because of it. So I just wanted to comment about that. And the other piece is that, again, what Glenn said, and I'm glad you did earlier on, Glenn, about our constitutional right to stand up and peacefully petition our government. Where has that gone? Where has that gone? That somebody who says something can be swept off the street and taken out of the country. I mean, you got extrajudicial deportations. There's a man in the paper today who he's not in the paper, of course. I mean, his story is, the man showed his birth certificate. They took him. He showed the birth certificate, and you had to have a judge say, yes, this is a legal document. Well, hell, it was a legal document when they took him. I mean, what are we becoming? Where are we going? This man that they took to Venezuela, that the man doesn't want to send back. When did this happen? How do we fix it? This is not America. This is not what we know as our country. I petitioned the government when I was in college, sitting in, petitioning with a sign. I was at the South African embassy, got arrested. Nobody took me out the country and told me I couldn't do these things. Where are we going? What is this? What country is this? And what do we do to get it right? I mean, the orange jackass and that spectrum, South African spectrum idiot that he has working with him. I mean, I've been on Newsfast, y'all know that, for Lent. And so I'm just, even just reading the newspaper, it breaks your heart. That's all I can say. This cannot be happening in the United States of America. It cannot.
But it is. Okay, Phyllis.
Well, I would say I get a lot of my encouragement from non-Zionist Jewish people that I follow online. Lauren, Sim, Katie are some of them. And they give me a lot of hope also, because I think there are, let's not forget that the Israeli Zionists also have backup from Christian Zionists. So they've got that. But there's also the Jewish people who are not Zionists and don't like what's being done in their name, because that's how it gets spun, that this is Israel. Jewish people won't be safe if it isn't for Israel. And dearly departed Joe Biden also said that. Yeah, I know he's not really dead. He said that. He said, I mean, he's the president of a country that allegedly could keep anybody safe that we wanted to. And he's like, oh no, if it weren't for Israel, Jewish people wouldn't be safe. That was crazy. I think we are headed into a very dark time if it doesn't get stopped. And if you take away people's peaceful right to protest, they'll start unpeacefully protesting, especially when the economy tanks, when they can't get food, when they can't feed their children, when they don't have access to transport. I mean, things are going to go bad. And people say there will be a civil war because of, these things. I hope not, because I think it'll be devastating to probably mostly the wrong people who it needs to devastate. And I think we should all try to wake everybody else up about this and help them see that it doesn't matter if it's happening in another country, it's also impacting what happens here, and it's just going to get worse.
Nicely wrapped up. So if anyone else wants to speak now, because I think I'm going to go into the.
Glenn had his
All right. You ready?
Where are we? Who?
Yes, Glenn.
Glenn. Go ahead, Glenn.
Just want to make a correction. I did not say that the Jewish people don't have a right to talk about the Holocaust. I say the way they use it to create sympathy to cover their evil doings. That's what I'm saying. I say it no longer has effect on the world anymore, what happened to them in the Holocaust because of what they are doing. That's the point I'm making. Not that they don't have a right to talk about it, but it don't have the effect of sympathy that it used to carry. That's my point.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn. Clarifying question from Phyllis.
Yeah, did you think something I said was a response to what you said?
No, that was the
He's talking about me.
Oh, okay.
That's it. And I stand corrected, Glenn. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else want to be on the list, or we will go into the wrap up? We only have two people that didn't speak, and that was Nancy and Teresa. So, Nancy, do you want to take your 2 minutes?
Yeah, it was an interesting discussion. People made a lot of good points. I think I don't know how and if this will ever be resolved. I guess, I don't know. I just kind of stand on the sidelines and just kind of watch what unfolds, because it seems to have been going on for quite some time, and I don't see a resolution anywhere, or at least I don't, unless someone else has something to say, but I don't see a resolution anywhere in the near future. But thank you for bringing the article.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy. Teresa, are you with us, or did you disappear?
Hey, I'm there. My family
No.
from out of town just came in. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You have 2 minutes.
Okay, so thank you for choosing this article. To me, it's just, again, confirmation bias. Anytime Black people attain a level of fame or whatever, somebody's always ready to knock us down or hold us to much, much higher standards than they would ever hold anyone else. I mean, I was just surprised. Well, not really surprised, but it was interesting how they were still trying to get the Obamas back in. the limelight about something about them divorcing or whatever, but there's always a narrative to just degrade someone. And this article with the intellectuals or something, just being at those institutions of higher learning would make people angry. Some people are angry that Oprah is a billionaire, for example, but there's always this narrative of denigration, and however they can knock someone off, or people wonder, how did he get back in the White House again? Because he went on the podcast and told people what they wanted to hear just to get back in so he can ignore it. Now, you would think, given all of the things that he's done, that he would not have the narrative that he does, that he wouldn't have the support that he does. That's why I always just said, this world has been marvelized. I feel like things that have been happening in our country now, or my reality, is things that I see in Marvel movies.
Mm.
Even though Batman is technically a DC Comics, that's what I really feel like we're saying. I like the word marvelized than DC because, I work for a pharmacy, and DC means discontinued or disconnected, which, in some way you can say that's happened to
Yeah.
our world too. Okay, I hear the buzzer, but thank you.
Oh, the buzzer didn't go.
Oh, I heard something. Anyway, I'm done.
That was probably just me laughing at your
Marvelized, yeah.
Yeah.
I blogged about that.
Okay, so thank you, Teresa. We are now going to move into the 1 minute wrap up, and because everyone else, unless I'm wrong, everyone else spoke during the meeting. So, Leonetta, let's start with you with 1 minute wrap up.
It was a wonderful article, and I agree with Marla when she made the statement about how America values life. I always thought that when those babies were killed at Christmas time and Sandy Hook, that America would do something about the gun laws, and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't do anything about the gun laws then. Why would it feel anything about what's going on in Palestine when they're bombing the hospitals? There's no hospitals there. The children are being killed. Babies, women are having. There are no hospitals there. There's no food. They can't even grow food because it's just the place is just being annihilated. They're telling the people to move one place, and when they tell them to go there, they're bombing it there. So, yeah, America doesn't care. So I agree with what Marla said. And about this moving people, yes, and there's a wide history, a long history of world history of people being displaced with power, civilization moving people from one place to the others, including the rights being taken from Africa, took into the quote unquote New World.
Mm. Good timing. Phyllis, you have 1 minute.
Just say to say the same words as Dr. Mark Lamont Hill: from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Yes, thank you, Phyllis. Beatrice, 1 minute.
Yeah, thanks for the article. And again, wanted to apologize to Glenn for misrepresenting in my response what he had said. There's a song by the Isley Brothers called Harvest for the World. It's a wonderful, wonderful lyrics. I have the 45. But one of them says, dress me up for battle when all I want is peace. I mean, where can we find, how can we work for peace when the hearts of so many people are greedy and wanting to take what is not theirs, wanting to other people, wanting to destroy people's land and their history and their culture. Where can we find peace? But it's a wonderful song, Harvest for the World. Good conversation. Glad to be back with y'all. Blessed Resurrection Sunday if you celebrate. If not, just enjoy spring. God gave it to us.
Thank you. Um, so wait, sorry, I'm sorry. My head is Marla. Marla, 1 minute
Yep,
if you want.
sure. Great discussion. I just, I don't know, the whole discussion made me think of something I read earlier today. Somebody was preaching about leading with kindness, and we have so much divisiveness in our country. Just lead with kindness, and we need more love. And many people raised the point in the comments that it's impossible to lead with kindness all of the time when people don't recognize another person's humanity. And by preaching about leading only with kindness, you kind of remove or make less human the struggles of people who are not necessarily like you and whose struggles are different. And I mean, I do believe in kindness, but I also say it is very hard to feel kind and loving when people don't recognize the humanity in all people. That's it. Thanks for a good discussion.
Thank you, Marla. Thank you for participating in it. Um, Marion, 1 minute.
Almost taking me a minute to unmute. Um, I appreciate this discussion group because it gives me a chance to talk to other people and speak in another group besides my family. Because my younger sister told me a couple of uh, days ago to stop watching MSNBC and CNN. She said, "You need to stop watching that mess about that man." I said, It's not all about this watching about the man. And you all know who I'm talking about, he who shall be nameless. But thanks, Louise. I'm glad you brought this, and we need to talk about things so we can at least keep some kind of civil human connectivity. Because my heart feels like it weighs about 50 pounds. This is so sad what we human beings do to one another because of the names we give each other. Thanks again, Louise.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you very much. Um, Glenn, 1 minute if
Yes,
you want.
thank you for bringing up the article. And my opinion is that, you know, the Palestinians will have their freedom. They will have their land. And Israel has, in my opinion, has already been defeated. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. Um, and Amal, last word from you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Great article. I want to answer a question, Louise, that you posed earlier about the certain communities not taking a stronger stance against what's going on in Palestine. And I think that a lot of people, the masses of the people in the United States, and particularly in certain communities, are just ignorant. They don't know they don't even know the origin of this conflict. All they know is something happened October 7th and they had war. And so they don't understand the historical origin of this conflict. So it's hard to take a stance on something when the masses of the people are ignorant, which you'll fit in the media. Unfortunately, for the most part, is the narrative that people go with. They don't dig deeper. They don't study history. They don't know the origin of the conflict. So they can't give an educated enough response because out of ignorance. They're just ignorant. They don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bring up this issue to the average person walking up the street and say, "Oh, you think about Palestine and Israel," and ask them, do they know the origin of this conflict? Not knowing it goes back to 1948, they won't be able to tell you. They wouldn't be able to tell you. So that's the short answer to that question. You'll never have peace on stolen land.
Right.
Philosophize all you want. You'll never have peace on stolen land. It's gonna always be some conflict.
Well, thank you. As always, Amal, even since you were 19, when I first met you, I always thought that you spoke such wise words for such a young guy, and um, so I really appreciate your insight and your words most of the time. um, you really do have some wise words, and I really appreciate you staying with this group. Um, okay, so I did write down loads of different things, and of course, it's going to be a hodgepodge of me with mumbled garbage that I wrote. Um, the first thing that I wanted to say, of course, people are frightened to speak out because, and America and Israel have manipulated that themselves. So if anyone does speak out, that's, they're frightened to lose their job, lose their lives, lose their whatever it is that they're, can lose. Um, and the showbiz people, of course, and we do know showbiz has a lot of Jewish people running it, so I guess they don't want to tread on the toes of their, studio bosses or whatever, so they don't speak out. Um, and the irony of the Holocaust, of course, is just ridiculous that they're bringing that up, and yet they're doing it to another people. It's just mind-boggling. And I think it was you, Amal, that brought up the similarities between communism, speaking out, very much the same, because communism in itself is not a horrible thing, and yet, it was made out to be this completely blasphemous, terrible, anti-American philosophy. So, yeah, you're right. That was exactly. Um, and what Phyllis said about October 7th was kind of the last, that the Palestinians went for broke kind of thing. It's like, okay, we've been doing, yes, we'll have peace talks, and yes, we'll do this, yes, we'll do that. And then it's like, oh, bollocks to that. Let's just go do this. And I think it started, I think you're right about that. That was kind of the incendiary that set it all off. Um, and we have totally become like a dystopian movie now, people being carried away by people in masks. I'm watching a movie, but it's a really horrible movie, and it's life. So yeah, it needs to be on the world stage. Leonetta made a good point about. Oh, Leonetta, you made a good point about the Sandy Hook. We didn't care about our kids then when they were being shot. Why would we care about other people's kids? Yeah, of course we are. Um, and I want to do an analogy. The last thing I'm going to say is Beatrice was talking about the hearts of people that do these things. When they show you the pictures of lungs on a smoker's lungs, and then a healthy, that's the heart. The smoker's lung is the black, horrible heart of these people that are making these things happen, um, and the people that support it, because they ultimately do not obviously have any empathy or compassion or understanding. Um, and I do understand, Amal, that ignorance is a lot to do with not supporting, for sure, and they have a lot to do themselves with their lives. Um, but thank God for the global stage, because if this had happened, this can only happen now, where everyone is tuned in to tech, and it's everywhere. People are seeing everything, so they've got to start to get educated on it. If they hear about it, check it out. You can research it and see it everywhere. So I do appreciate that. And I love, Glenn, your optimism. I really hope so. So yeah, let's fight the good fight. And this was a great discussion. Thank you, everybody, for your input, and have a great weekend. Happy Easter.